So I was on the whatever podcast this past, whoops, dropped my bag. Of course. Anyways, I was on the whatever podcast this past Sunday in California. And you know what? It was a very interesting experience. It's also fun to see something and then be like, hey, I wonder how I go on the show, and then just go and do it. Granted, not a lot of people can do that in their lives, so I feel very fortunate that I have a wonderful husband who was like, yeah, let's go to California. You should go do that. With that said, I don't think a lot of people in general come up with ideas of things to do and then go and do them. I think a lot of people come up with lots of ideas, but they don't follow through. And I don't know, there's a fine line between courage and stupidity. So, as I was about to go on the podcast, I definitely was questioning some of my life choices at that point. Like, do I really want to go on this podcast where everyone thinks the host is a misogynist, and like usually there's like major conflicts and feminists and people yelling at each other, and it's about dating, and I'm married, like what would I know? Although I probably know more than most. I mean, I have dated before, let's be real. I don't know. So anyway, the show went well. There was no major conflict. It was me and 6 other women, so there were 7 of us. Lucky 7, I guess. And we kind of all agreed with Brian. There weren't any hardcore feminists on the show. Everybody rated their looks pretty evenly, or fairly, I should say, not evenly. There was no major conflict, but since there was no major conflict, does that mean there's actually hope out here? Like, are some women actually coming to terms with the fact that, looks aren't everything? I don't know about that one. I mean, there were two women on the show who one wanted a guy who makes $1 million because she's an OnlyFans girl and makes, I think she said she makes like $500K a year or something insane, which is great. She's 19. She's gonna make $500K a year. That's cool. I'm just curious where her investments are. I didn't ask that on the show. Probably should have, but curious, like, okay, you're 19 now. Are you setting up for the future, or you just think you're going to cash out and retire on a guy? Same with the brunette that was next to her. A couple of times I was like, it's back to money again. I didn't hear her say anything about her potential future husband's values at all. I heard her say that he needs to make $200K, so that way she can stay home and raise the kids. And, I heard her say he has big muscles. I did also hear her mention that she argues with him. I can't imagine that bodes well. But again, I didn't ask her a bunch of questions. Kind of brought up the money thing because I think that's weird to me. If you're gonna date somebody, okay, maybe, yeah, they should have a job. How about that? They should have a good work ethic, so you know that you're not marrying somebody or getting with somebody who can't keep up with you. If I can afford to put gas in my car and go out for a drink, I would expect the person I'm dating can do the same thing. But that's not a super high bar. I mean, what's the average income in the United States? Like 50 grand or something like that? What is this hair sticking out here? It's like distracting me. I can't get it. Anyways, but yeah, going on a podcast like that, it's definitely interesting. It's kind of launching yourself into conversations with people that you don't know, and I greatly enjoy that. I would like to do more of that. I would like to find more people that'd be willing to talk to me, although it is hard to find people of different opinions that are willing to talk. I mean, maybe as a whole, people should talk about hope. Because I don't think a lot of people have a lot of hope out here. They don't have hope for the future. They don't have hope for a relationship. They don't have hope for financial success. They don't have hope for a variety of things, right? And I feel like, no. I think, looking back, having been a small child in the 80s, a teenager in the 90s, in my 20s in the 2000s, so I got to live through some of the best freaking decades, in my opinion. There was still hope. Like even when I had my own place in the city and living in Harlem, and granted, I had a good job. There was still hope for the future. Even my friends who were skaters and had no bank accounts, no money, they were just living in a van, traveling across the country. You know, they still had hope. They still enjoyed things. They enjoyed life. They enjoyed meeting people and interacting. I feel like people nowadays are scared to interact with other people for fear they're going to get hurt. They're going to have heartbreak. They're going to have sadness. They're going to have depression, anxiety. Like, those things aren't necessarily bad. Those things help you to realize what you do and don't like in life, and then find the things you do like. You know, if you go into a situation and it makes you extremely anxious and depressed, well, that's not for you. Find something else. Do something else. Change what you're doing. It's not that hard. It really isn't. Also, just change your mindset, you know? I mean, like, look at today. It's gorgeous out. It's in New York. I'm in New York. I'm back in New York, mind you. California weather. Do have great weather. Taxes, politics, all that stuff, not so much. Wouldn't want to live there for that purpose. But, like, look today. Gorgeous day. A lot to be thankful for. I'm healthy. Sky's blue. Got a roof over my head. Got nice earrings. Fun jacket my dad gave me. Not bad, right? Oh, yeah, and by the way, drugs are really expensive. Like, oh, they're even more expensive if you're a guy. If you're a girl, they're free most of the time, right, ladies? Anyways, no, I don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. They're bad for you, except for when they're fun. I didn't say that. I did say that. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Anyways, so, yeah, whatever podcast. I don't know why people think Brian is a misogynist. He's not. He doesn't hate women. He doesn't. He just has a certain criteria and a checklist of things that he wants in his future long-term partnership. Because I don't think he wants to get married, if I remember correctly. What's wrong with that? I mean, I think everybody has some sort of idea of what they would like, hopefully, so they can recognize it when they meet it. But, yeah, he's not a misogynist. He's not. And he's agnostic, so he's not super religious. And, yeah, no, overall, the show went great, I think. Some interesting people on there. The one woman next to me who had a bunch of piercings, and she had, like, fangs, and she had a split tongue, which I've always found fascinating. Like, I don't understand what would make somebody split their tongue, but I guess it falls in line with tattoos and all that stuff. Yeah, she was an interesting character, you know? Like, I'm not gonna lie, looking at her, yeah, she looks like she might be a feminist or a leftist or whatever we're calling people these days who have just lost their minds. I think we should change the titles of people from left and right and leftist and or conservative and what's the opposite? Liberal. I think we should change those titles to just people with common sense and people without common sense, or people who can't read the room. I don't know. What would be a good name? I mean, retards is a great name, but, you know, they're not actually handicapped physically. They're mentally handicapped. That might be a good word. So there's the mentally handicapped and those with common sense. Okay. We can come up with something better. Anyways. But, yeah, I think a lot of people just lack hope, especially young people. By young, I mean in their 20s and stuff like that. Because take the OnlyFans girl, right? She makes $500K a year, she said. Like, that if a young girl at 18, 19 looks at her and goes, okay, she's doing OnlyFans and she's making $500K a year. I'm working as a bartender trying to go to school for a profession that might pay me tops $80K a year, and I'm going to community college. It really makes you start to question, like, what am I doing? Why don't I just go do OnlyFans, you know? But the trap with those type of things, with sex work and all of that, is people make fast money in those industries, but it doesn't last. So there's a big difference between making let's say just 200K or 100K, making $100,000 a year in a profession where you're surrounded by other people who are hopefully have some sort of thought process for the future versus fast money where you're just making it constantly and you get this impression you're going to make it forever, which is not true. In all the sex trades, you don't make it forever because eventually someone comes along and bumps you out of your spot, or something could happen. Your health could fail, your looks go, you get older, you just fall out of the realm of things. And so, I wish her well, but it sounded to me like she's hoping that a guy will marry her who has a lot of money and it'll be her retirement plan. And also, she wants to meet a guy who she likes, apparently. So she wants a guy that she likes and makes $1 million a year. So, and she didn't state her criteria, but she did state on the show that she had just been dating a guy who made a lot of money who proposed to her, and she said no. And it seemed like because she wasn't into him. So the money isn't the end-all, be-all, apparently. Which means, if she's not careful, she's going to look around the table and she's going to be, 30-something, 40-something. OnlyFans might not be paying that much. Her management company can't do anything with her anymore. And, I just hope she has investments. I hope she's squirreling some of that money away, assets, whatever, because, the proper investments, if she's making $500K a year, she's set to make $1 million a year. Technically, if she's worried about retiring, if she did it properly, she should be able to retire in, 5 years? 6 years? By the time she's 28? If she really wants to stop OnlyFans. But, yeah. I definitely showed my age on this show because I didn't know half the people, Twitch streamers and this, that, and the third. I didn't know who those people were. The same way I didn't know anything about World of Warcraft when Brian was talking about that. I was like, I like video games, don't get me wrong. I recently got into playing Magic the Gathering cards. Yes, I'm a dork, leave me alone. I recently got into Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of cool, actually. Magic, by the way, is great for your memory because there's a lot of steps in Magic cards. Like, you gotta remember this card interacts with that card, with this card and that, and it's kind of nuts. Yeah. I don't know. Dating out here. I hear a lot of things about dating from friends and people, guys tell me that, girls are only interested in money. Girls tell me guys are only interested in sex. Well, guys have always been interested in sex. That's not going to change. The sex industry is what it is. Look at this girl. She's 19 on OnlyFans making $500K a year. Obviously, sex sells. Obviously, sex not going anywhere. But then again, nobody's having sex. So what is really going on here? There's crossed messages all over the place. People just don't have any courage. They don't have hope. So they don't think something's achievable. They don't think they can do something. And then people lack any courage. You're going to have to take risks to get rewards. You're going to have to put your heart on the line, put yourself out there. You're going to get rejected. But it's not the end of the world, right? Also, heartbreak is kind of fun. It can be fun. That sounds crazy, I know. But looking back, crying, oh my God, I'm broken up with somebody, or oh, this person is this and that. Yeah, it's just a moment in life. It's another emotion you go through. If you didn't have emotions, you'd be a robot. What fun is that? Anyways, I'm rambling. It's probably what I'll end up doing on these YouTube videos here and there. Look at this freaking day. It's freaking gorgeous. It's so nice out. I don't know. People just gotta take risks. People just gotta do things like that. Like I was sitting on the couch. I was watching the whatever podcast. I may have had a couple glasses of wine or scotch or vodka or Moscow mules. I'm really into Negronis right now. Negronis, awesome. Love Negronis. But yeah, I was watching the whatever podcast, and I was just like, well, how hard is it to be on the show? I'm really curious. Is it tough? Do you have to interview? Do you have to send a resume? What do you do? And it wasn't hard at all. Just sent a message through Instagram, and voila, ended up on the show. But I don't think a lot of people, so that moment there where people go, oh, I wonder how you do X, but then they don't take that next step to figure out how to do X. that's a key moment. And even if they do figure out how to do something, then you have to actually follow through with doing it. You know what I mean? Even riding a motorcycle. I ride a motorcycle, right? It's like, okay, I want to ride motorcycles. And granted, it took me years, don't get me wrong. I got my license in 2016, and then I didn't actually start riding until 2023, technically. I mean, got the Aprilia in 2022, I think it was, but I didn't actually ride it very well. I mean, I rode it a couple times, but did much better learning on the Honda Rebel 500. But yeah, okay, you want to do something, you think about doing it, why not go and do it? What's the worst that can happen? I mean, granted, on a motorcycle, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, but most things are like asking someone a question. You wanna know. For example, I'm going to some concerts coming up, right? I emailed the bands. I said, hey, I'm coming out to these concerts anyways. Anyways, I can get a photo pass, a press pass. I'd like to take some photos, videos, run around backstage, things like that. Why not just ask? What's the worst that can happen? Someone says no. Whoop-de-doo. They say no. It's. I don't know. Is that courage? I guess that's courage. To a certain extent. And if you don't have the courage to do anything, that sounds miserable. That sounds positively miserable. I can't imagine not having the courage to do things. But my friend Antoine, after the show at the airport, was talking. He was like, well, I'm proud of you. You always. He's like, you're the one person I know that you think about doing something, then you go and you do it. And he's like, I find that admirable. And I guess that's where this whole video is coming from. It dawned on me that not a lot of people do that. It's kind of amazing. They shortchange themselves in lots of ways. I'm watching this guy fly down the road on a skateboard, kind of awesome. But yeah. So anyways, the whatever podcast was fun. I think the format of his show is interesting. It's a sort of toxic take on dating, a lot of his stuff, but that sells. People like toxicity, people like conflict, people like things that it's weird that people like things that don't necessarily make them feel good or look good or things like that, but I don't know. It was fun. Would I do it again? Sure. Will I go on another podcast? Sure, why not? I like talking to people. I think it'd be fun if I could talk to some people on here and get their point of view on life. Like, what's your favorite cereal? What's your favorite sex position? I wonder if those two things are correlated. Like, do people who like Lucky Charms really like doggy style? And then people who like cornflakes are really into BDSM? I bet you thought I was going to say missionary. No. Yeah, people who are into missionary are really into, what flavor? Rice Krispies. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to have to go now. But, yeah, I'll do another video. And also, the weather's getting better, so hopefully I'll be back on a bike again. One of the bikes. I want to ride the Aprilia more this year. Didn't get a lot of miles on it last year. Need to put more miles on it this year. And then supposedly I think that we have to do a valve adjustment that I have to learn how to do. I saw the valve adjustment on the Honda Rebel. That didn't look too bad. That looked pretty easy. I'm sure the Aprilia is going to be harder to do just because it's Italian. Italiano. And Italians like to complicate shit. Anyways, have a good one. Deuces.